to just get your thoughts on what we learned a couple of hours ago, this political maneuver, I guess, by Nancy Pelosi when it comes to the State of the Union.
Right.
I'll remind our audience again what the Constitution says. The Constitution says that the president from time to time shall inform the Congress the State of the Union. So she's giving the president a couple of options. Explain to us the chess game that is at play here.
Right. So this is a pretty crafty maneuver on the part of the new House Speaker, although she's downplaying it and saying this is just housekeeping. But basically, the argument that she's making to the President of the United States is that she doesn't think it's a good idea to go ahead with the State of the Union as scheduled at the end of this month if the government is still shut down, because it is a major security event. You end up roping in so many Secret Service officers, other federal law enforcement officers, and all of these people are working without pay right now, and that it would really tax the system. She suggested, in her language, to President Trump in that letter that perhaps they should push it off until after the government is reopened. And the reason that she's doing this is because, A, if he doesn't agree and he says, no, I want to go ahead with the State of the Union as planned, then Democrats can portray him as being insensitive to federal workers and the plight that they're facing right now. And if Democrats are successful and the State of the Union does not take place, well, then they've robbed the president of basically his biggest bully pulpit every year. That is a 1-hour primetime address in the well of the House chamber when you've got the entire Congress, the entire country looking on. And Democrats knew that he would use at least part of that address to go after them and claim that they are the ones who are keeping the government shut down. And they wanted to deny him that opportunity. So Pelosi said offhandedly when we spoke to her today, if he wants to do it out of the Oval Office, he can. He could still give his State of the Union. She suggested that he could also mail them his address, that he didn't need to give it in person. But this is Democrats basically trying to take away one of the president's biggest opportunities on the national stage to make his case about this border wall.
So, Nancy, just real quick before we let you go, I mean, I read that little bit of the Constitution because I just wanted, it's very sort of broad, but historically, traditionally, isn't it the House Speaker that invites the President of the United States to Capitol Hill to address them? And so can they pull the invitation? I mean, or is it just, hey, look, it's sort of a, you know, we kind of understand the SOP here and the president's still going to be able to deliver it if he wants to?
Well, they're avoiding that language right now. You know, in fact, Pelosi herself told us, look, this is just housekeeping. The Secretary of Homeland Security, the president's own cabinet member, has said that this is a major security event. We're in a shutdown right now, so it just makes sense to put it off. So the way that she's playing this is to say, you know, I'm not forcing the president not to come. I'm not. I even asked her aides for further guidance, and I said, you know, despite her language, isn't she basically saying that this is a no-go, that it's not happening? And they pushed back on that and said, no, this is her suggestion. But obviously, it sort of has put the White House in a bind. If the president pushes back and says, I'm going to do the State of the Union anyway on this date, then it makes it look as if the White House doesn't have any problem with making all of these federal workers work overtime when they are not getting paid. We haven't gotten any official response from the White House yet. So you've probably got a lot of White House officials behind closed doors talking to one another and trying to figure out how they want to play this. Because after all, she hasn't said you can't do the State of the Union ever. She's just saying, why don't we put it off until we come up with some kind of solution and get the government back open.
Will be really interesting to see how the president responds. Nancy Cordes for us there on Capitol Hill. Nancy, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure thing.